Bing, get a bing. Okay. I feel like it should be to prop or not to prop. That is the question.
That is a question.
We should be like on a to prop or not to prop. Okay. Are we ready? Yeah. I need a sip of water. Hold on. I feel like we're in that time of year where it's like sweatshirt on, sweatshirt off.
Yes, I've been doing that all day.
Off.
I have a big fuzzy sweater in my car that I was teaching.
Oh, the one you wore the other day. That's like the
big white fuzzy.
Yeah,
I
like it.
So I had it on in the morning, and I took it off because I got really hot, and then all of a sudden I realized I was chilly, so I put it on. And then I was hot again, so I took it off. And then it was like every other session I was taking it on or off.
My clients are like, didn't you? Wait, no. Oh, no. Because they're lying down, and all of a sudden my shirt broke. Okay, we need a new one. How do we do this? Oh gosh.
There should be something for new recording. I think you usually just close out.
Let's do that. Okay.
You can just do this.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. That was our theme music. I'm two Pilates chicks. I'm Hillary.
I'm Davita.
And welcome. So we are talking about props.
Props and assistive aids.
Yes. Proppy. To prop or not to prop?
That is the question.
That is the question. And what is a prop? Why? What's the purpose? It's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where to begin? And we kind of talked about the board client last time.
Our last episode was the board client dealing with that.
Oh yeah, so this is episode
4.
Season 4. What? Okay, yeah.
So
it was 3.
Last one was 3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
okay.
This one's 4.
I promise we are mentally here.
So we have props versus assistive aids. Props being something that we use to enhance or connect to an exercise. So we have our balls, we have our rings.
TheraBand, which is our sponsor. They don't know
sponsor.
Yeah. TheraBand's balls, circles,
small props that you can add to something.
Look here on the studio. What else?
Then we have like assistive aids, which can be like headrests,
bolsters.
Yeah, different things to help if somebody has a certain like injury or pathology of some sort to assist around. And there's not a real differentiation, but those sorts of things. And so when we pick props, is it good or bad? Why do we pick it?
And are we just picking it because they're bored and throwing stuff at the wall again?
And that's the first thing with a bored client. If we think they're bored and we're afraid, like we were talking about last time, if they say they're bored, are we just picking a prop to just add something to be like
exciting or different or
here's something new.
Or this will make it harder, and
but
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Just complicates everything.
But props can be used to help a client find a connection in the body. So we can pick something to add a little bit of intensity in a certain way if we want them. Let's say we're working a little bit of adduction with a ring or a ball because they're missing that inner line connection of the legs, for example. So we can use that to help them find that adduction connection. So then when we take it away and give them an exercise, they can then maybe find that more easily. Yeah.
And and you were talking about your client that I think it was knock-kneed, which I'll let you tell that story. But also I think like finding that, like you just talked about, that connection. So maybe it's that moment where the knees start to do something, knock-kneed, come out, or the leg isn't reacting in a certain way, and you're using this prop for them to feel this like, oh, that needs to work because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And
You're missing the connection.
They're missing that connection. So this prop now makes them go, oh, I feel that muscle and I didn't feel it before.
Yeah, like we woke it up or we made them aware of that muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so we were talking about one of my clients who has been having some knee pain. She has some knee OA. So I was giving her a looped band around her knees to find that bit of abduction and that little bit of external rotation in footwork, so that the knees aren't knocking in, so that they're finding her parallel.
Right.
And so,
I like how you said her parallel.
Yeah, not just parallel.
No, because it's different
her parallel
for everybody.
is very different.
Yeah.
She has a lot of a very severe knock knee position. And so we're working around that. And so I gave her, I'm not a very proppy teacher normally.
Neither of us, yeah, we're not proppy people.
Really. And so I chose to use this looped band for this client to do footwork for a handful of sessions to find that her parallel position in her footwork. And so then after a few sessions, I didn't give it to her, and I said, okay, now press out as if you still had that band there, find that connection there.
Yeah.
And so she now has a significant more awareness of where she needs her knees to be.
Like she feels the muscles that need to work.
She's aware of it.
Yeah.
And so what I was thinking about that was, if I'm only relying on this band to help her find that position, this prop, what happens when she goes out on the street? She's not walking around with the prop around her legs.
Let's hope not.
Right.
So that would not be good.
So we were talking about how it's all about finding the right prop for the right reason for a client, that these are tools for us to use to have a client connect to something.
Yes.
But then we need to graduate out of them and not rely on it.
Yes. And I think that's the key too. It's like, I remember when I went through training and footwork, this is the same thing. And my feet roll in. So it's just, that's my pattern.
Your thing.
My thing. And I have to work very hard, but I remember my teacher, he said, I want you to put this in, it was a very specific ball, put it right here. I want you to do your footwork, and I want you to do it for, until I tell you differently. But it got me to understand that whole connection all the way up and what wasn't working when I was doing my footwork. And then now I don't need to use it. But it's kind of like you start to feel what's not working or what is working.
Yeah.
And then the client can rely on their own body and internal messaging.
Yeah.
Of like that band around her legs going, oh, I'm not feeling that muscle. I need to figure out where, and the band's there. Oh yeah, I can
imagine where it should be. And like some people don't have that proprioception, right? They're not aware of where it needs to be. So that's what we're teaching them. And so if they don't have any foundation of what we're talking about, a prop can be very helpful to find that connection in whatever exercise, in whatever way they need.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, we're waking that up. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, that muscle.
Oh, I feel it now.
I have clients go, oh, I do have that muscle. Yep, it exists.
But I think it's important to understand when you're thinking about props, whether it's the ball or the circle or the TheraBand or whatever it is, is why. Why are you giving it to this client?
Yeah.
Not every client is going to have the same prop in the same place for the same thing.
Yep.
Because everybody's different. So why, and what are you trying to accomplish by using that prop?
Yeah. And we were talking about earlier, like, okay, are we using that prop to keep a client from getting bored?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the best reason. I mean, we could use it to add some variety. You could definitely use it to change up an exercise. But again, what's the goal with the prop?
What's the goal for that client?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it just to entertain them?
We're not here to entertain.
We're not here to entertain. So it's also another thing on that vein is this prop helping or is it hindering?
Yeah. Are they becoming reliant
on that prop?
Would they then be afraid of doing something without it? Because you've told the story of somebody who came from another teacher who was then afraid of working without a headrest.
Yeah. Well, it was a pillow. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about, kind of the pillows that we use when people have some sort of like
vertigo,
or they're kyphotic or scoliosis or whatever it is, and you kind of and they're in pain, and you're kind of getting them in a comfortable position.
There's a reason for using it.
There's a reason, and he's been doing Pilates for 20 some odd years, and he had a pillow, but it propped him up past. So his head was above his body.
Oh, so it wasn't even.
It wasn't even, And because he made me show him all the pillows, and then he picked his pillows, And I asked him, I said, well, you know, what is a pillow for? Do you have vertigo? No. I said, is it pain? No. And his answer was, well, I've always done that.
Yeah.
And he would not let me not use the pillows.
Right.
Period.
So then
So
he can't ever do a mat workout. He can't ever do, you know, he can't go somewhere without a pillow. So that's limiting.
Hindering. Yeah. And there's no reason for it. And so it's kind of like, why are you giving it to this person? And are we helping them or are we not?
Yeah.
Is it a crutch in a bad way?
Yeah. Or is it something where we're helping them find that connection? We're using it for, again, that purpose, but then can we then graduate them out of it to help them find that connection without the prop?
Without the prop.
Yeah.
And I think, and I was kind of telling you this, is like, and you can tell yours because I don't think we really dove into it because we didn't want to do it off the podcast. But when I went through training, and I think most trainings, unless it's, you know, ones we'll talk about, but we didn't use props. It was like, these are the exercises, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't learn about props until I started studying different lineages like Eve Gentry and Kathy Grant, where the props are very specific as to why you're using them and what the purpose is. And so, and like you were saying, Ron Fletcher with the towel. And so there's all these, you know, ways of using a prop that's very, so that's how I learned it. It wasn't like, oh, put your magic circle here and do a teaser here and then squeeze your legs because it energizes and this and that. It was kind of like, this is very specific for a certain engagement or what we've been talking about.
Well, and like Kathy Grant straps that I love to do with
them so much.
And when you give me them, like, I'm really working my arms, that arm back connection, the reach, like there's specifics.
And that's, you could consider that a prop. I mean, it's these straps that are hanging from the Cadillac, and
I think we could.
The balls, she used all these different sizes and engagements, and it's true. It's like all these different variations of things. Like my teacher that gave me this teeny tiny ball was like, hold this, and right here, he was very specific as to where it would go.
I want it here because of this, for this reason.
Yeah, and you cannot let that. It's like, there goes the ball.
And I do use that for some clients, like in some leg stuff. Here, have this ball, like maybe a light airy ball. Do not let the ball drop. So we're finding that connection. And then, oh, we lost the ball. What connection did we lose? Oh yeah, I did let that go.
Yeah, and another, and this just hit me too, because you were talking about the ball and the squishy ball, and it's like, I have a client that had a stroke, and so one side of her body doesn't work the same as the other. So we use the ball a lot to go to see if she can feel that she's engaging evenly, as in drawing her legs in, engaging evenly, because it doesn't. So she can feel something against her leg.
Yeah, so that tactile feedback.
And the same with the bands, right?
Yeah.
She can feel that.
And that's a really good point for anybody's neuro clients. Like people work with neurological issues like that, like a stroke or MS. You can't just say, well, just move that. Because they can't. Oh, just squeeze evenly. They can't. They literally need a prop to be able to feed back into the body.
Yeah.
To then.
It's like